So we starting with standing this evening. Now, good. Okay, so you're all welcome back after our little break. I'll take my socks off. Right. Always nice to practice in bare feet if possible on the mat. Good. So relax. Let's just stand for a moment, finding a comfortable position where you feel, you're well supported. It's it's relatively effortless to stand tall. In the same way as we often do when we lie down, if you do want to give yourself just a little bit of a stretch, maybe you're going to be stretching more, but sometimes it just helps, stretching out, give a little wobble, and then good. And also maybe taking a few deeper breaths in and out, so that we can bring ourselves now here into our space, to our class, preparing ourselves also mentally for the practice. And if you're comfortable with having your eyes closed, you can close your eyes, or maybe just, if you don't close your eyes, maybe just looking forward and down, not necessarily at the screen at the moment. And so feeling and sensing the whole body, the alignment here, and balance. Locating ourselves in space and time on our mat right now. And in the usual way, I'm going to ring the bell to begin. So let's just do a scan through the body, starting from your toes, from your feet upwards, letting your mind travel from the feet up through the body. And then experiencing the whole body here all together. Welcoming ourselves in this way, acknowledging each part, welcoming each part of our body and of ourselves here to our practice. Welcoming the breath. We're going to start with some movements, helping with our breath, so you can let the arms go a little bit further away from the body, just a little bit, and with the palms facing forward and the fingers slightly spread apart. And then with our next breath in, slowly and steadily letting the arms rise up, all the way up above the head. They don't have to come together now, the hands, but just wherever you feel comfortable. It's the arms stopping there. Brief moment, holding the breath in, turning the palms away, and then long, slow breath out. So keep slowing down the breath. Exhalation, nice and slow. Take your time. The moment of holding breath out, and then we're ready. Again, breathing in. And visualizing also, when you breathe in, the ribs opening up, the rib cage, the lungs expanding. We're really helping the breath to move deeper into the body. And with a long breath out, emptying the lungs, slowing down the heartbeat. So just do 3 more times in your own time. A little bit of pausing after the inhalation with your arms up. Being very much aware of the movement and the breath. So it was a nice way to focus our attention. And so coming to the last round, relaxing the arms, relaxing the breath. Maybe still with the eyes closed, just observing the effect of the practice. You can step a little bit further apart then. So with the next breath in, we're going to lift up the right arm up and also shift the weight slightly onto the right leg. And you can lift your left heel off the ground, so you're barely kind of with the left foot on the ground and really reaching up towards the right side, as if you have a corner there, the right corner forward, slightly forward, reaching up with the breath in and then releasing, shifting the weight back onto both legs. The right arm goes down, the left arm comes up, shifting weight onto the left leg, stretching up with the inhalation. Exhale, shifting over. So again, just right inhale and really stretching out. Left. So when we go over to the right side again, stretching up to the right with the right arm, simultaneously stretching down with the left arm. The left arm now pointing slightly away from the body. So it's kind of a diagonal. So we're really stretching right arm up, left arm diagonally into the opposite direction down. And then changing over on the other side. So there's a more of a stretch here too on the opposite side. Good. So we want one more round like that. Right arm up, left arm stretching away. And changing. Good, coming down. Maybe stepping a little bit closer together again. And then lifting up both arms with the inhalation, coming up on the tips of the toes. You don't need to look up, just stretching up. So if you want to reach something above your head, we're not looking, we don't need to see it, we're just stretching up. And then coming down, releasing the arms. Okay, so let's shake out a little bit. Arms and shoulders, legs. Good. And we're starting with swinging, so you can rock in your knees and move your trunk a little bit with us. You know, you can do a slight turning of the trunk as much as you're comfortable with. And allowing the arms to swing. So, you know, when they come down, allowing them to be heavy. So there's always a bit of a passive moment here when we're just, you know, letting the arm just fall down more or less. So it becomes less effort. See if you can make it less effort with the swinging. Really getting going and turning the trunk a little bit, walking in the knees. You might find a breathing rhythm that comes natural, or, you know, at least make sure not holding the breath. Gosh, just a little bit more. Give it some time with it. Swinging, waking up prana. Good. And then coming back. You can still rock in the knees and Arms swinging and hugging. See if you can keep the shoulders nicely relaxed. So when the arms come together on the front, that the shoulders don't necessarily move up to the ears. Again, keeping it to the least effort. Okay, walking. And then one more with both arms lifting. And now we don't need to go forward bending yet. So more just like swinging. Arms. You can do a half press if you wish. Might be quite natural. And letting the arms swing. Very good for the shoulders. Good. Maybe two more. Good. And then stepping that a little bit more apart. And the last kind of swinging here from side to side. Letting the arms swing around. If you have plenty of space, let them fly out if you have the space. Letting the arm wrap around the back as well, the back arm. Swinging. Head can turn, but if you find that's a bit, you get dizzy, then perhaps don't turn so much with it. Good. Good. And then slowing down. Coming back to a still moment, perhaps stepping a little bit more together and literally just taking in the sensations here of that waking up, getting the heart going, getting the blood flowing in the body, prana energy moving. So we move on to the hips. So perhaps again, stepping a tiny little bit apart. We're going to soften the knees, and we do the tiny movement first. So just the tailbone, where we want to circle our tailbone. So it's not a very big movement. So see if you can really, in the hands here can tell us a lot if the hip bones are moving. So the upper body is not, getting much movement at all at the moment. It's really mainly in our kind of pelvis here. So you might see it as the tailbone drawing a circle. And noticing how, we do use our core muscles here, abdominal muscles, and we're doing that as well. It's literally a pelvic tilt. So change direction. So really isolating that movement a little bit just for the pelvis here. And then literally just pulling up one side and the other side. So you're kind of doing a little side tilt here for the pelvis. As if you want to lift up your hip bones, literally, As if you want to pull up the leg a little bit, maybe that's a good, if you want to pull the hip up side to side. Okay. Good, shaking out. Bringing the knees, bring the legs together. Bring the legs together. So we're bending our knees, have the hands maybe just gently resting here on the knees and drawing circles. So keep your feet well flat on the ground, so that we can really move from the ankle joints moving here, circling. Changing direction. Good. And then coming back up, keeping the legs close together, the arms a little bit away from just for balance actually, and the skiing. So we want to keep the legs close together And we're moving around, shifting around. It's a bit like as if you're standing on a balance board. You're kind of doing that movement. So change direction. Around. Nice big circle. Good. And then coming back, stepping a little bit more apart. So this time it's the big circling. So we have the knees bent and you're going to make some big circles here. So you initiate the movement with your pelvis and the buttocks pushing out, and let the rest of your upper body right up to the shoulders, maybe even a little bit neck, just follow the movement. So it's initiated from your hips, and the trunk literally just let the trunk move in the way it wants to move when you're circling. So sometimes it's good to slow it down a little bit so you can really see what's happening. Let's stay with one direction for another little moment. So there's a lot maybe sometimes to discover, particularly if you're really starting to pay attention to the little more subtle movements that are happening. Good. And then do change direction, go the other way. Staying equally curious. Is it the same? Is it slightly different? Is the body moving in a different way or responding in a different way, the trunk to the movement of your pelvis here? Wonderful movements for the body. So maybe another 2 rounds. Good. And then standing still. Again, just taking a moment to feel it in the body, because it is actually almost a full body movement. We can allow the whole body to move somehow with it. So another movement is it's kind of a side bend. So what we want to do is you're lifting up your right arm, you're shifting your weight over to the right side, and you're leaning down the left side. So, and you can lift your left heel off the ground again. So that's one movement. The back arm, in this case, the left arm goes behind. So when you move here, let the left arm go behind it. So in a way, you're stretching in that way. Good. And then we change over and you bring your left arm up. You shift the weight to your left hip. You let it bend to the right side and let the right arm go behind your back, stretching back. Good. So changing over. We can do it a bit more dynamic. Stretching. So the arms moving in opposite direction, but almost describing a circle in a way. Good. Wonderful stretch here for the trunk again. Lovely side bend. Good. Maybe 2 more rounds. You can look down to the opposite leg. So if you're going to the right, you look down the right leg. Good. So lovely, energy movements as well here from the body. And then we're gonna so we stand up, you bring the arms forward, make a little softening of the knees, and then opening the arms out to the side with the breath in, stretching back. You might even look up if you're comfortable, but otherwise don't. Going forward, rounding the back as if you're hugging a big tree or beach ball, and opening up with the inhalation, stretching and leaning back a little bit. Exhale, round. Relax your head, bring it forward, opening. So another 2 rounds, lovely. Particularly here for the upper body. So it's the chest area that's moving here. Good. And then releasing, maybe just rolling the shoulders. And doing whatever you would, just some lovely easing movements. Side to side. I call this a seaweed. It's my own kind of description of it, flowing from side to side with it. Good. Okay. Good. Again, so all of those particular practices, it's all really about, waking up and getting the energy flowing. So we're moving more to the spine now. We do the spinal roll. So standing with the feet, knees a little bit bent, starting from your neck. So we let the chin go down towards the chest and then roll your shoulders forward. Bend your knees a little bit more and begin to roll yourself down slowly and in much detail as you can, getting the back round. And then eventually, either stop halfway if you feel like the back needs a bit more kind of warming up, or needs a bit more to be gentle with, or go all the way down. And once we go all the way down, allowing the spine to stretch out. Hanging down here for a moment, head and shoulders heavy, allowing the spine to be, the vertebrae to be separated here as we hang down. And then we roll up, so bending the knees, and start from the center, from your lower back, tailbone area, round, uncurling, straightening, extending the spine, rolling up nice and tall. And we just do it once more. So chin towards the chest, rolling the shoulders forward. So take your time. See how much you can actually individually roll or move the back. And of course, the rib cage is there to support the back. So there won't be that much movement, individual movement in the vertebrae, but still. And then when you reach that moment where you let go and you hang down, where we feel the stretch, that we can allow the spine to be extended here, the weight pulling us forward and down, holding here for a moment. And once more, soft knees, rolling up, vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling up. You're nice and tall. Good. So again, a wonderful movement for the back. So that we're, because if one part of the back is hurt or if it's stiff, other parts of the back, they take over. And before we know it, parts of the body don't move anymore, and then the parts that take over, they're not really designed to do that particular movement. So they get tired and then we have other problems. So it's really good to kind of just waking up all the different parts of the back. So another one is what I call it the wave movement. It's because it's kind of, I've heard it before, it's not my making. It's because we want to draw kind of a wave through the body. And the way we can help is with the arms, where we circle, so it's kind of this round, curling and arching and extending. And this is a wonderful practice also for your core muscles. You can really feel them working here. And then at the same time being stretched out. Good. So it's not about kind of bending forward or big movement. It's more about getting movement into the back here. So if you have been going forward like I did with the arms, let's do the reverse. So we're going, the movement of the back is not very different, but it's in a different sequence. You know, we're reversing it. Good. So stretching, arching, rounding. Good. Let's do 2 more rounds here. Great. And actually, you get the heart going. You know, it's it is a physical exertion because we're using the arms so much. So it's definitely, you know, we get our heart beating here too. Okay, good. So my mat has a life of its own today. Now it's wandering off away from the from me. Good. So let's step apart a little bit more. Good. So we're going to do a forward bend with, you know, a diagonal forward bend. So you can bring your right hand behind your, well, actually left hand. Sorry, put the left hand behind your back. So just resting, like, you know, with the palm back here. So it doesn't really have a big function. It's just out of the way. Maybe let's say it that way, it's out of the way. Good. So let's bring the right arm forward, lifting the right arm up, and then turning back to the right side. So you're turning behind you. And if the neck is fine, you keep looking at your right hand. And then with an exhalation, you bring the right arm forward. You start to bend your knees and you reach forward and down, bringing the right hand all the way down to your left foot. And let the head go in towards your right knee. Sorry, your left knee. I'm confused now. Right hand is towards the left foot, sorry. And then coming up. Reaching up, so it's a diagonal stretch. So the right arm goes to the left foot. Good. So exhale, going forward, stretch yourself out, bending down, and let your head also go to your left knee. And coming up, straightening up. So going forward and down. Good. So keep your right hand there by the left foot, wherever it is. And start to turn your left shoulder upwards, if you can. Turning the left shoulder a little bit more upwards. And if the neck and head is fine, you also kind of start turning the head to your left side. And you can bring your right hand a little bit more over to the other side of your left leg. So the spinal twist here. And then release. One final round to come up, just to lift up. Inhale. And then we bring the right hand behind the back and the left arm up. So stretching up, looking back. With an exhalation, reaching forward and down. Coming towards your right foot and the head relaxing towards your right knee. Holding. Soften your knees, reach forward and up and stretching back. Exhale, going forward and down, reaching out, extending your spine. And coming up. So this time we're going to stay down. So let's go forward and down. So the left hand can be anywhere on your right foot. And maybe bring it even over to the outside of your right foot, if you can do that. So we're going to start turning the trunk a little bit more. So begin to turn your right shoulder up, the left shoulder perhaps a little bit more down. If it's okay for your neck, turn the head. But if not okay, then just look down. So more emphasis on turning the trunk a little bit. So it's a revolving, you know, forward bend here. Holding. And then relaxing the head. And one final time coming up. Inhale. Straightening up. Going back. And releasing the arm. So legs are still apart. Inhale. Let's lift up both arms. Reaching forward and up. And then with an exhalation, you might soften the knees to go down, push your buttocks out behind you, stretch yourself forward at the same time as you're folding yourself down, bringing the hands onto the ankles or shin bones, holding on, letting the head and the upper body fold forward and down, extending the spine. You can also straighten your knees if you can. Stretching ourselves out here really from the back, the legs, the trunk, even the arms are stretched. And then bend both knees, lift up the arms, push yourself up, straightening up, inhale, reaching high up, reaching out with the arms out to the side, stretching and coming down. Good, bring the legs together, give it a good shake. So, I mean, they're all great practices, you know, to really kind of open up and stretching ourselves out. Good. So you can now come to the front of your mat. Good. So with the feet hip-width apart, standing in Tadasana, tall. You might close the eyes even for a moment. And you're very well familiar with the practice, so you might not really have to look at the screen at all. So really being kind of quite, you know, internal with your experience. Bringing the hands together into prayer pose. Reaching up with your arms as you breathe in, pressing down the feet at the same time, lifting, extending upwards, really tall here. Soft knees, and then fold yourself forward as you exhale, stretching yourself out as you go down. And if you can, do straighten the knees once you're down and the fingers are beside your toes, allowing yourself to be lovely stretched here. So we take the right leg back and bring the right knee onto the ground. So when the hips go forward here, make sure the left foot is absolutely flat on the ground. So the heel of your left foot is not lifting up. If the heel does lift up, bring the left foot further forward. So, you know, it's important that the foot is flat on the ground. So adjusting a little bit and then lifting up your trunk. You might rest the hands on the left knee if you're, you know, that's always a kind of in-between pose. Inhale, lift up the arms, stretching, reaching up. So keep your hips nice and forward, making sure the left knee has not moved back. So roll the shoulders back and down. So not, you know, not sticking up to the ears. So holding here for a moment, breathing. I know it's strong. It's also a good balance pose. And then fold yourself forward and down, nice and slow. Good, hands on the ground again. You tuck your right toes under, lift your right knee and step back with your left leg for the mountain pose. So you can do your walking mountain here 2 or 3 times, just easing the thighs, stretching out your toes and your calf muscles. But then holding the pose now. So fingers are well spread out. And you have your shoulders active. So you want to tuck the shoulder blades in towards your rib cage. And that should result in your head being absolutely free. So can you do yes or no with your head quite freely here? There's no kind of, you know, restraint on that. And stretching back. Lovely long back. You're breathing freely in our mountain. Very important pose, fantastic pose for the heart. Of course, it also builds up a lot of energy in the body here. It's directly walking, you know, on that center, the Manipur.
So breathe steadily, slow and steady. And then bringing the knees slowly down onto the ground. And relax your toes here for a moment, and you can sit back as much as you can towards the heels. Keep your arms forward so you have that lovely stretch through your trunk here. Again, breathing all the way to your lower back, to your abdomen. And then coming onto all fours, as if you're coming for the cat pose. Now, ideally you have space behind you to stretch a leg out behind, and also stretching an arm before in front of you. So just making sure now that you can do that. Good. So we're going to simultaneously lift the right arm and the left leg. So, but before you do that, just make sure your back is kind of in a neutral position. So you're not, the back isn't hanging down, nor is it arching upwards. So this is kind of like a table at the moment, so nice and flat. So when you're ready, without changing your back position, let your right arm lift forward and up, and your left leg out behind you. And it's not about height. So see if you can keep your back level, if you can keep your hips level. So that means your left hip isn't tilting upwards. You might press into your right knee down into the ground. You might press your left arm a little bit more into the ground, holding here. It's enough to look down on the mat. You don't need to look forward. So we might save our neck here. So keep breathing, keep holding if you can, keep your back level. Stretch maybe into arm and leg at the same time. So extending, and that also can help to keep your back nice and straight. So one more breath. And then slowly bring your right hand and your left knee back onto the ground and arch your back upwards. So let's stretch into our arms and curling the spine up, tucking the belly in. So it's a lovely stretch in the back. And then coming back to the neutral position. So neither up nor down. And lifting the left arm and the right leg together. So again, we want to have a straight back. The hips are level, so we're not lifting the right hip higher up. If you feel it in your lower back, tuck your lower abdomen in, and also maybe don't lift your leg too high. What you might do is you extend from your arm and your leg, stretching out, breathing. You can look down, so save your neck here, holding. And then bringing the hand and the knee down. And again, curling up the spine, nice and round. If it was strong on your neck, so really let the head be down here, relaxing down. And then tuck your toes under, and we go up again into mountain, stretching up and back, extending the arms. And then you can bring the knees briefly down so that you can step forward with your left foot all the way forward where it came from. Stay here for a moment with the hips dropping forward, allowing the stretch between the hips here. Maybe breathing into the hip joints. And then the right foot steps forward. So take a moment here to forward bend again, maybe the legs absolutely straight. And then soft knees, swinging the arms forward and up, stretching upwards, really extending up. You want to be the tallest possible way you can be here, stretching from the soles down and the fingertips up.
And then keep that lovely length in your spine while the hands come together and moving back into prayer pose. We'll just take a moment here, eyes closed, just checking in. So inhale now, stretching up again, the arms, pressing down the feet, lovely extension to the whole of your body here. And then folding forward and down, really stretching yourself out, extending as much as you can, relaxing your head, legs can be straight, folding yourself as closely in with the upper body towards your legs. And then soften the knees and step back with the left leg. So the left foot can relax. We bring the hips forward and making sure here that the right foot is absolutely flat on the ground. So it's not, the heel is not lifting, and the hips are nicely forward here. And when you're in that position, then you can lift the trunk, maybe rest your hands for a moment on the right knee, straight back. And then when you're ready, let both arms lift up and keep your hips forward. So really allow the hips to be open, stretching up. Now, when you stretch up, it doesn't mean you have to lift up your shoulders. So see if you can keep the shoulders down, back. Don't look necessarily up. It's very strong. Looking forward is plenty. And it is a balance here. So the eyes could be open, just focusing on the head. And of course, it's a lot happening here. It's not an easy pose. Good. And then we come forward and down slowly. You tuck your left toes under, lift your left knee off the ground, and then you step back with your right leg. And again, you might just do a little walking mountain or a bit of a hip twist to ease around that whole area. And then finding a steady position here. So holding our mountain pose. So fingers are flat. Use the whole of your hand to take the weight, not just the wrist or the heel of your hands. Remember to mind your neck. So hugging the shoulder blades a little bit more in towards your rib cage. Stretching more back. That doesn't necessarily mean we have straight legs. They may or may not be straight, but not compromising on your back. So, if you need to mind your back, then keep the knees slightly bent. So again, steady breathing here. See if you can, even when it gets challenging, can you relax in this pose? Is there a way of releasing a little bit without compromising your position? Really observing what we're actually using here to stand in that position. So 2 more breaths, if you can. Otherwise, of course, you come out, take a little rest. So bending the knees, slowly coming down. Again, we relax the toes and sitting back on the heels as much as you can, keeping the arms still forward. So there's a good stretch throughout the whole of your body here. Stretching breathing all the way down into your lower back, into your abdomen. Head relaxing. Coming again into the cat pose onto all fours. Finding our neutral position. So with the back flat, like a table. The head is neither hanging down nor lifting up. And actually, ideally, we keep the head in that position. So when we're doing the balance again, the cat balance,
there's no need to lift the head to look forward. I know sometimes we do that, but today, because we're staying in longer, I would just recommend keep the head in that alignment here, neither hanging down nor lifting up. And you might just think of that tennis ball between chin and chest. You know, it just maybe at least it reminds you not to move the head. So we're going to start with the other side first this time. So it's the left arm and the right leg. So, so when you're ready, shifting the weight and then lifting the left arm and the right leg, finding the balance, making sure that your back is okay, your lower back. So we're not tilting our hips. You can maybe stretch from arm to foot. So mind your neck, keep your tennis ball between chin and chest. Breathing here. Wonderful strengthening practice for the back and balance. You could try it with the eyes closed. One more breath. And then bringing the hand and the knee down. And again, let's stretch up, rounding the back, arching the back. Stretching down into your arms, pushing up the spine, tucking the tailbone in, really round. And then releasing, coming back to the neutral position. Table pose, and then lifting the right arm and the left leg slowly so that you can really keep the balance and, you know, adjusting the balance and making sure we're not twisting the hips. So that the hip bones in the front, they really are parallel to the ground. They're not twisted. Keeping a tennis ball between chin and chest, stretching between arm and leg, breathing, wonderful strengthening practice and balance. You might again experiment with keeping the balance with your eyes closed if you can. Otherwise, you know, keep the eyes open. We don't want to fall over. Two more breaths. So slowly bringing hand and knee down, and once more curling up the spine, arching upwards. Sitting back on your heels and actually go into the child pose now, the full child pose. So when you're sitting fully back, you can relax your arms, either support your head with your hands or let the head be on the ground and the arms resting alongside your legs. So we're really folding yourself fully into the Shashangasana, our child pose. And as round as possible. So you even want to bring your chin in a little bit towards your chest or towards the knees, the head towards your knees. So there's a real, you know, nice roundedness all around from the entire back. Yeah, from your neck right down to your lower back. And breathing. And of course, we just did the cat balance, and it was a practice that again got the heart going, the breath going. So you might do find that the breath is actually quite strong here in this moment. So taking another moment here in Shashangasana. And then stretch the arms out behind you, lift them up a little bit, straighten your back, and see if you can come up, sitting up without maybe using the arms to push you up. So again, working with the back muscles, coming up to sit. And I know not everybody can sit like this, so we're not going to sit like this for a long time, but sometimes it's a good position, you know, that Vajrasana, sitting like that.
Good. So whatever way you want to sit, we're going to do a breathing practice. So I would recommend, get a cushion or get your stools if you have meditation stools. If you want to sit with the back to the wall, that's fine. At the end, we're going to lie down, but we're going to sit up first for pranayama. So any position is possible as long as you can keep your back straight. So I'm just going to sit on my cushion here and, cross-legged, but that doesn't mean you have to sit cross-legged. Some of you might be absolutely fine and you can do it perfectly well, but, it's whatever. You could even sit on a chair, actually. You have the advantage of being home. You might have a chair handy here to for sitting practice. Good. So once you're settled, you might just close your eyes for a moment, sitting upright as best as we can. The hands anywhere, maybe on your thighs or knees here for this moment. So there's a kind of a general openness here around the upper body. Sitting tall. And we haven't done sitting for quite a while now, so really this term, bringing that back in because it is so valuable and so important, particularly the breathing practices, pranayama. And we're going back to the practice of Nadi Shodhan, which is alternate nostril breathing. So for this practice, we are, we'll be breathing through the nose, and we will be alternately breathing through one nostril and the other. Now, in the case if you have a cold here today, or if for any reason the nose is blocked, then that won't be very easy. So you don't have to actually close the nostrils as such. You kind of just, maybe imagine breathing in and out through the other. So whenever we have a cold or, the nose is blocked, it's not really, we can't really practice very well, but with actually doing it with the hands, but you can do it, by imagining it. Good. So what we want to do is you take your right hand and the index finger and the middle finger of the right hand, they stay together. And then you bring them to the eyebrow center. So you just very gently rest them at the eyebrow center. And the right thumb in a moment, so just trying it out, the right thumb now could easily close your right nostril, and the ring finger of your right hand can easily close your left nostril. So that's how we operate the closing and opening of the nostrils. So, but for the moment, just rest your index finger, middle finger gently on the eyebrow center. The eyes can be closed here. Breathing normally, just relax your right shoulder. Make sure you're still sitting upright and straight. And then when you're ready, very gently close your right nostril with your thumb. Now don't press very hard. So just very gentle. So automatically you will be just breathing in and out for the moment through your left nostril. So just getting used to, it's a bit odd. It might feel a bit strange. You're not looking for deep breaths here, just, breathing in and out. And then change over, let your right nostril open up. So relax your right thumb, take your right ring finger and close your left nostril. Again, just very gentle and just get an idea of breathing in and out through your left nostril. And as I said, if the nose are blocked, it's not easy, then you don't close the nostrils, you just imagine breathing in and out. Good, so relax your ring finger again. So closing the right nostril with your thumb, very gentle, breathing in through your left nostril now. And then close your left nostril with your ring finger, while at the same time opening up the right nostril and breathe out through your right nostril. And then you breathe in through your right nostril. You close the right nostril with your thumb, open up your left nostril and breathe out through the left. And then in through the left again. closing your left nostril with your ring finger, opening up the right nostril, breathing out. In through the right nostril, closing the right nostril and breathing out through your left. So this is the rhythm of breathing. So I give one more round and then you find your own pace. So inhale through your left nostril, closing the right. Then close your left nostril with the ring finger and open the right nostril and breathe out slowly and steadily to the right. And then inhale right, closing the right nostril and exhale through your left. If you're very new to the practice, so this will take time, so just do the best you can, continue like this. I would like to just remind you to sit upright and straight because it's very easy to kind of collapse in the spine. So so you always breathe in, left, then out to the right, then in to the right, and out again to the left. So that's kind of the rhythm. For anybody who is well used to the practice, now we haven't done it for a while, but you might, still remember it, or maybe you're practicing it even. See if you can keep a very even rhythm between inhalation and exhalation. So you even can count mentally. So when you breathe in, for example, you might take a count of 4 or 5 for your inhalation, and then do this exact same on your exhalation. So if the inhalation is 5, you exhale for 5. So we want to just keep maybe that very, very equal inhalation and exhalation. If you're finding it challenging or it gets a bit stressful, you can always take a rest. Relax the hand, just breathe normally, and whenever you're ready, you start again. Breathing practices, they can take a bit of time to get comfortable with. But this is a wonderful practice for calming the mind, for concentrating the mind. Wonderful practice before relaxation and also before meditation. So the next time you exhale through your left nostril, do 3 more rounds. So just reminding you again to sit upright and straight, make sure the neck is, the head isn't tilting up too high, that your right shoulder is relaxed, the face is relaxed. And if you haven't done yet with the counting, so give it a go if you can equalize your inhalation with your exhalation. Every round is the same. So if you do have a count of 5, the next 3 rounds will be the same count. Now you have done the 3 rounds, so don't hurry. But if you have, you keep your eyes closed, you relax your right hand, but sit for a moment. Just quietly. Of course, the breath will find its own way. You don't need to manipulate the breath anymore. I'm just sitting with the effect of the practice. So Nadi Shodhan, altered nostril breathing, a practice that is calming the mind, is also introverting our minds, which then helps with our relaxation. Also can be done, before you meditate. It's a wonderful practice. If you have sleeping problems, it's a great practice. So we'll be working with that a little bit more over the next few weeks. It's good. So you can come and lie on your back now for your relaxation, making yourself comfortable, making sure you're warm. Shavasana, so relaxation pose, letting the body get very comfortable here. If you need supports underneath the knees or underneath the head, making sure they're not, especially under the head, it's not too big. And for the legs, so that, if you have a support underneath the knees, that can help your back to be more comfortable, more supported. If you don't have any supports because you don't need them, that's fine. Just finding really comfortable way to rest here. Allowing your body to spread out. Sometimes we confine ourselves maybe to the size of the mat, or we have a blanket and we feel like, we can only, however wide the blanket is, that's how we can allow ourselves to spread out. But maybe that is a bit restrictive. We can spread beyond the mat. The mat is only just, a little kind of a tool. It's not defining how we have to, take up a position, the same with the size of our blanket. So feel free to really spread yourself out. And energetically, that's good. It feels like that we kind of really allowing energy to move freely in the body. And the whole practice is about generating prana, it's life force, and kind of, it's already there within us, but we're kind of waking it up and we're starting to channel it, especially with Nadi Shodhan at the end. There's a lot more to it. There's a huge theory behind this breathing practice, and the right and left side of the nostril, connected with different energy channels in our body along the spine. So there's a real, big theory behind that. So those practices are really helping to channel that energy. We're expanding and waking up with our physical practice. So when we're lying here now, allowing this energy to move freely wherever it needs to go. And allowing our body to be as comfortable as possible and as effortlessly here as possible. So becoming aware of your legs here, being at ease. Perhaps you can even feel the weight of both legs here. The pelvis and the buttocks are comfortable. Maybe you can feel the weight of your pelvis. Awareness of your trunk, the position of your back. And perhaps feeling the weight of your whole trunk here. The position of your shoulders and your arms. And experiencing the weight of your shoulders and arms. Experiencing the position of your head and neck. And feeling the weight of your head. And now deep experience of your whole body here. Resting here, allowing yourself to fully rest, to be held and supported on the ground, the earth. Allowing the body to be at ease so that energy can flow freely in the body. Nourishing and rejuvenating each part, each cell of the body, literally. So once again, becoming aware of your feet here, your toes and your feet, your ankles, your lower legs, your knees, your thighs, the front and the back of your thighs, the hips, the buttocks, the lower back and middle back and upper back, the sides of your trunk, the front of your trunk, the abdomen and chest, awareness of your shoulders, upper arms, elbows, forearm, wrists, hands and fingers and fingertips. Awareness of the neck, the head, face, and the entirety of your body now. Your whole body here all together. Awareness of the whole body. Resting here with ease, effortlessly, consciously. Perhaps being aware of really all the different kind of sensations that are here, even though you're not moving. The body is still, but there's life here in the body. Signs of life, maybe the breath, the movement of the breath. Maybe there's tingling or pulsating. Maybe there's different temperatures. Any forms and signs of life here in the body. Giving it a sense of being connected with the body. We call that embodiment, when we are actually really in our bodies. And that is deeply nourishing and deeply grounding, because a lot of the times we're in our minds and our heads. So being able to really embody ourselves, to be in the physical body, I know we all have a body and we all know we're in that body, but we're actually most of the time we're not really conscious, or at least not in its entirety. Often it's fragmented. We might just be aware of a particular area of the body, especially if there's any issue with it or we have strong sensation somewhere. It's natural to be particularly aware of that part of the body. But here we're really practicing to be aware and being in our body as such. Being really aware of our physicality. And the body has so much wisdom. We can really learn and get so much insight how we are from literally from our body. Probably in some ways much more honest and real than what we might glimpse from our minds and our thoughts. Perhaps we can get a sense here of this embodiment of ourselves. This is really present. This is here, this is now. And this is a gift we can, really receive for ourselves, such embodiment. And a gift that we give ourselves too by practicing, by being willing to experience and to be present and to explore. So slowly allowing the breath to deepen and to expand. Still very much aware of the physicality here, but also in the context of where you are, space and time. And beginning to move, and if you wish, we can come up to finish the practice, but if you want to continue resting and lying down, that's your choice too, the advantages of practicing at home. So, but otherwise, if you wish, you can come up to complete our practice together. And then we bring our hands together into prayer pose. And we complete the practice here this evening or wherever you are practicing right now. And with our Sri Shantis. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om.